Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today for another card making tutorial. We're going to be using the Amazing Year stamp set this time round. It's a cling mount stamp set which features this really pretty bouquet and some really nice companion sentiments to go along with it. So that's what we're using. My sample card here uses some of the in colours that came in for 2021. So we've got soft succulent, evening evergreen and polished pink. That's the combination that's been used for this card, and we're just using some stamping blends to colour that image and frame it like so. Okay, so I thought we'd switch up the colour palette, use something a bit different, going back to sort of the core colour families. I've actually got Mossy Meadow as my card base on here. And I've got some layers of cardstock to pop on. So my accent colour for the flowers is going to be Highland Heather, but I don't have any Highland Heather cardstock, so I'm bringing in Old Olive. Those two colours are quite similar, whilst one is definitely lighter than the other. So just to make that pop a little more, I'm just going to pop an additional white layer around that, just to help that lift from the page. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So the panel we're stamping on is one of my what I call a mini panel, which is 3 inches wide by 4 3/4 high. Because we're colouring it, we're using stamping blends, we're going to use a water-based ink to stamp our image. So this is Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Just make sure the centres of those flowers are nice and well inked. So just tap over the top of your image with the ink pad until you're satisfied there is enough ink over the top, and then we'll just pop that down. So hover over the top, make sure it's straight, pop it down onto your paper and give it a firm press all over that image. You don't want to rock your block, just firm pressure all over the stamp, and then lift straight up and you'll get a nice clean image. Okay, and that's all about the quality of the etching on your stamp. So if you get that really nice high quality etching that's really nice and deep, you are going to get a really good image every time, and that's what you get with Stampin' Up products. So like I say, we are going to be using stamping blends. Now the first thing we're going to do might look a little strange, because I'm just going to use the light pool party marker here, just to go around the edge of the image. Gives it a bit of a frame. So just around the edge of the line art there, and we'll go into the middle where there are gaps in the leaves as well. But I'm not going to worry about going over the actual leaves and things, because the other colours that we're going to use will go over the top of that quite nicely, and won't even show. And we'll just pop some colour lift around the edge, which will just help diffuse that into the background a little bit. And whilst that might seem like a really strange thing to do, it does really make the image come off the page and gives it a bit of dimension. And with this tag that we're going to leave white, that will really help to bring that to the forefront. Okay, all right. So that's the first thing that we're doing. So as I say, the card base was Mossy Meadow and Old Olive. So those are the colours that I'm using to actually do the foliage today. So those are dark Mossy Meadow, dark Old Olive and light Old Olive. So the Mossy Meadow is going to give us that extra depth into the shadows, just with it being really nice dark colour. So all we're going to do is just drop in some little specks of that right at the base of all these leaves, where the shadows are going to be. Then we'll move to the dark Old Olive, which is sort of a bit of a middle shade. So just add in a little bit there as well. Just sort of next to where the Mossy Meadow is. It won't look like much until you start getting those in. I'm going to use this medium colour for colouring the stems. Don't have to be too precise with that at all. Just making sure that the lid's on really firmly. You don't want your markers to dry out, so just make sure your lids are on. And then we'll use the light marker just to drop in from the tip down, which will blend all of those colours together and keep that little bit of shadow at the base. So now you, oh, there is a leaf there that I've missed, but we'll just go over it with that. You can spend a long time doing this, or not so much of a long time doing this. So if you want to spend more time really getting into those details and doing some extra layers of blending, then obviously you can. Don't pretend to be an expert in this at all, but so this is the method that works for me, just to get those colours in. Okay. Again, just making sure those lids are on nice and firmly. Pop those to one side and bring in the Highland Heather. So this is what we've got so far with our foliage. And we're going to do something similar with the flowers now. We're going to use the artwork to tell us where the shadows need to be. So it's all going to be in the centre here, and then the petals overlap here and there. So we're going to pop in the dark colour where those overlaps are going to be, where they happen in the artwork. So where you've got one petal overlapping another, that petal underneath is going to have some shadow on it from the other one. And then again we'll go over with the light. No middle colour on these. We're just going to do the two markers coming in from the tip of the petal down towards the middle. Don't worry about getting any lines. You won't get any lines because of the way the markers work. Colour will just blend in, but trying to be careful that I don't go over to the areas too many times, because the colour layers up. So the more I apply, the darker it will become, and then you might lose that contrast between that and your dark marker. So just bear that in mind. So now I'm going back and just going over where those junctions are to introduce a sort of faux mid-tone, if you like. Not going all the way to the tip of the flowers, just coming out a little bit more from where those shadows have been. Okay, so that will give us our sort of illusion, if you like, of introducing the third colour by doing that. Alright, okay, just layering the light a couple of times to sort of meet in the middle. You can see it particularly on that open flower, how that's working out, and once it's fully dried it will really blend in really nicely. Okay, so that's our topper created. So just as we did before, we're going to layer that up. So I like my Stampin' Seal for this. Let's get those bottom 3 edges in place and then drop down the 4th. So there we go. And then we'll pop on that extra layer. Like I say, we're just going to have that extra white layer just to help it pop from the card base. So just to remind you, that's Old Olive. The card base cardstock I'm using there for the layering. Okay. And then that's going to go onto our Mossy Meadow card base. Isn't that really nice? It's sort of got an antique-y look to it. Right, colour for ribbon. So nothing that really matched these colours at the moment. So we're going to pop on this glitter organdy ribbon, which is quite interesting because it sort of acts a bit like a chameleon really. It will just change its look depending on what you put it with. And there is sort of some pinky purple sort of tone to it with that holographic glitter that's in there. And then obviously white goes with anything, doesn't it? So we'll just wrap that round the back and give that a trim with my big sharp scissors that I use for ribbon. Don't want to use the same scissors for your card and your ribbon. Paper doll scissors, so you want to keep a pair that's going to stay nice and sharp for cutting your ribbons. Dimensionals. So I tend to put 6-ish on a card base like this, and we'll just use a little bit of wet glue just to help us get that in the right place. This is what I like using wet glue for. Just a blob of that on the dimensionals just helps us put that onto the card straight. Just gives us a moment or two just to make sure we've got it right, or as close as we can get it to right. Okay, so it's just a bit of firm pressure just to get that set. So that's going to just dry for a second, and I'm just going to bring in this little scrap of cardstock and our Memento ink once again to stamp our happy birthday sentiment, which we're just going to use as sort of a companion to the enjoy your day. So enjoy your day, happy birthday. Okay, so I would say that the ribbon and the additional sentiment are probably optional, really. You don't have to add them. Just going to snip off the excess there. Not too worried if it's not quite straight. And again, if we pop some dimensionals on there, so it's good to hold on to these little edgy strips there. So they're perfect for these little skinny sentiments. So we can just pop that on the back there. And again, because we're laying this over ribbon, some wet glue goes to help secure that, because it will soak through the ribbon to the cardstock and it will just give you a much firmer bond than the dimensional would on its own. So we're just going to overlap that with the ribbon and the edge and stuff like that, and it just sort of brings the whole thing together. So you've got this nice sort of little companion sentiment there. And just for, in fact, iridescent rhinestones is what we need. We've got the iridescence of the ribbon there. So let's bring in our iridescent rhinestones instead of the plain ones. So use your rule of threes. 1, 2, and 3. Just to give you that nice design triangle, a visual triangle that helps tie all these things together and is pleasing to our eye. So that's what we're going to do with that, and that is it, my friends. Nice and simple card, great colouring, completely different look using the different palettes. So like I say, this looks a little bit more on the vintage side, where we've got like nice fresh colours and that nice bright pink popping through on this one. So very interesting to see how different colours can make your cards look. I hope you've enjoyed that and it's given you some ideas on how to use this stamp set. Links will be in the description if you want to take a closer look at anything that I've used today. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you're staying safe, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.